Well, a big zinger. Our sponsors
I wasn't
continue
done.
to, of course, help us out this tournament, so thank you to them.
The 2017 Heroes Global Championship Finals are brought to you in part by Republic of Gamers, Intel, T-Mobile, and NVIDIA.
Haldor, did you want to elaborate more on your point, or should we go ahead and just skirt by that?
I just really wanted to say that they impressed me. They got their kills. They knew they were the underdog, but yeah, continue, Tim. It's fine. Like, it's
We're
okay.
all good now.
I got the hint now.
All right, we're good.
It was not as subtle as I.
I'm deciding with them today. I feel like they deserve it.
Yeah.
You know what, Gillyweed?
It's fine.
Going into the next match here, Red Canids had a couple of kills in that entire match. What more can they do to try and find a way to get a tied-up series?
It's hard, man. Maybe they control the globals. They try to play the global game more. That seemed to be what was working out for Tempest. This is a Red Canids, a Latin America that is a lot more macro focused than they were before, and they were even able to do that versus Roll 20. But it's still a non-league region that traditionally struggles with being able to control the map with the objective play because they don't get punished and figure out how to punish within their own region.
The one thing that I really wanted to say is that they still feel to me like the best Latin America team, the best form of Red Canids that we've ever seen. Yes, we all know Tempest is the better team here, definitely on paper. So if nothing crazy happens, Tempest should take this. But at the same time, the way they present themselves, how aggressive they are in these fights, that they are not timid, standing back and just taking the beating, is impressive. And overall, I think this is the first time where I look at it, it's like, this is actually cool. These guys are really bringing the battle right now, even though they know they are the underdog.
Well, we're going to be going to Dragonshire, where Red Canids can try to flex that type of macro, have a solid top lane, and of course try to find a way to get a couple picks on Tempest and move forward.
This is a really interesting situation because we already had seen that Tempest was comfortable prioritizing Dragonshire on their own, but we also talked about it's one of their weakest maps results-wise, statistically. So they're kind of relying on the lack of success that Tempest has had rather than the preference and the mentality that we've seen them display historically.
Yeah, and the trend is always top lane for Tempest. They put a lot of focus in the top lane, and what ends up backfiring for them is when a team has a lot of really good wave clear and control of the mid-bot rotation. Then Tempest gets scared when they start losing towers, and they turn around and devote resources there, and then they're basically not getting something out of where they put focus to in the first place. So maybe that is something, going back to your original question, what Red Canids can abuse here.
Well, Tempest attempted to adapt and change that weakness by pulling in a lot of wave clear last time in the draft. Will they do the same here? Let's go ahead and start Dragonshire.
I mean, the last time they banned out Right Wing immediately to also emphasize that they can play a strong Tracer composition once again, and the Red Canids shut that down by banning out Tracer. Let's keep in mind that in the previous series where we had them actually play on Dragonshire, they used Tracer when they could. So they're following the same MO already. Tracer is now a huge option for Tempest, so we might see that ban coming in on the side of Red Canids as Right Wing is once again eliminated.
Yeah, Brightwing being removed from the table is not too surprising. The follow-up is looking like they're hovering over a Tracer.
I think...
Go ahead.
I think if they ban Tacita, Tracer is going to be a first pick. It's really likely. The way that they played before with Tacita, with Tracer and Rhaegar.
But that time, they were in the second pick position and Dig first picked Tassadar. It was more of a... It seemed to me to be more of a deny from them having both Tracer and Tass.
That's a good point.
Even if they go in that direction, to talk about what Gilly was talking about with the emphasis towards that top lane and the lack of wave clear, the Tracer is going to be committed to the 4. It would put focus onto the top lane and getting those ganks. And ultimately, it would be very easy for Red Canids to just concentrate on getting wave clear, play the safe game, and at least capitalize on the major weakness that Tempest has displayed on this map.
Also, to be honest, now thinking about it, I don't think they have to actually pick Tracer first. If they want to pick Tracer, they can still do it later, because I don't think there's any way that the Red Canids, without having Tacita, are actually picking her away from them.
Yeah,
so,
that is traditionally what they would do, is later on.
So if they have Abathur right now, we've seen in the past Tracer compositions also played with Abathur. So if they still feel that it fits, they can do it later on, which makes the pick way safer than showing it as early, so that Red Canids could counter pick completely either with wave clear or with direct damage against her. So it makes more sense.
Dragonshire Abathur is something that I always get a little bit concerned with. The dynamic that he plays with Europe, I mean, obviously has been willing to pick him quite consistently, but ultimately I do feel like it's a map where you can get enough structural advantage in the earlier stages, and wave clear is so prevalent and laning is so important levels 1 through 9 that ultimately I do feel like it is a risk, and I'm a bit surprised to see Tempest commit to that this high up into the draft. That being said, they were very comfortable throughout the last game, so I don't feel like they viewed this as maybe a setback.
With Rega and Sonya, Red Canids already have not only great synergy between the two heroes, but they also have an immense amount of camp clear. So they can really start to focus a lot more on the siege line camps at the bot lane, trying to get the night camps here as well to apply additional pressure. And if they do that early on, they might really start to pressure Abathur in the early game, even more so than it's already the case.
Love seeing both of these picks, given that Abathur was the first pick. The double gray main is a possibility, and Muradin makes for an excellent symbiote target because of how long he can stay in the backline around all of the members of the opponents.
It's a bit dated, but I think I would really appreciate to see Red Canids transition to a 1-1-3 style laning situation. Abathur on Dragonshire is one of the few maps that you can really dominate with that if you have a prominent solo laner up on top, and then your mid lane just is winning in wave clear. That's all you need. Sonya is most likely going to be successful within her lane. Rhaegar is definitely going to be able to aid when it comes to the tri lane, so just making sure they have a good wave clear to match up into mid, take out front walls, and make sure that mid and front wall dies before even level 10, or at least the first Dragon Knight goes down on this map.
Malthael again eliminated, and we have also now the ban on Oriel, so on the support side. But I agree, like a lot of pressure on the side of Red Canids could really put the Abathur comp in a bit of trouble. The camp clear adds to that even more so.
Yes, it does.
So once that I mean, you can even aggressively, if you have the opportunity through a strong tri lane, start to pressure your opponent's siege line camp and take it away if you see an opportunity for it. So if the Red Canids get a bit of snowball potential in the early game, that might be one of the ways how they can really put the pressure on the Tempest and maybe win a map.
I think the biggest thing to make sure that they try to avoid is a 2-1-2 situation, because the Abathur compositions, normally you think, well, I'm applying pressure in one lane, I can apply pressure in another. There's no way that Abathur can actually deal with this, but by only having two people in the lane rather than the 1-1-3, it's not the pace at which you're pushing, it's the survivability when the gank comes in inevitably. And ultimately, in a 2-1-2, this composition Tempest has formed can actually get those type of kills. So I would like to see them try and avoid that here as we go with a Garrosh, and we're going to figure out what else, which it's going to be a double support. I thought we might see the range picked up for them, but don't mind to see them commit here to the double support.
Uther is a nicer follow-up to Garrosh pull than Rhaegar. You can drop the totem, it's just a 35% slow. Instead, now you have the point-and-click stun, and it's good because of how the throw setup works for Garrosh. And it may be enough to just keep Tempest from being able to get any sieging done with their gray main, but I'm really wondering who is going to be the solo top laner, or at least the top laner against Sonya for Tempest.
The one thing that's also interesting to me right now is that on the side of Tempest, they can really start to pick very mobile characters that just don't get threatened by Garrosh. That's the one thing that I'm worried about right now, how much value he's going to get. If you get a good pull and a combo into a stun, you can do a lot of work here, but overall, with the way that Tempest has been playing this so far, with the heroes that they have right now, if they pick mobility, they can really just dodge Garrosh, and then he doesn't do too much.
Leoric Abathur is going to be a problem for the Sonya to be able to deal up on top. Also provides a lot of wave clear for the fact that Tempest did end up going into that pick. I want to see at level 4 on the note of the Sonya, and we've been talking about the map pressure that they're going to need in the early game. I would like to see a talent adjustment at 4 to Shattered Ground, like we saw, I believe it was Rich earlier in day number 1 on Dragonshire. Just amplifying the damage and pressure she can get out in that top lane to, again, exaggerate the weaknesses of Tempest composition, I think is going to be a must. And we've been talking about concentrating onto the 4-man. I really do feel like that Garrosh commitment, as you were kind of talking about, Kaldor, doesn't accent that to the point where they're very focused on making sure they get these kills to a pretty safe and well-rounded composition that Tempest now has.
How do you like the Cassia here? I'm not really the biggest fan of that setup because, again, we talked earlier about the potential tri-lane that you could use an attempt to put pressure onto the bot lane. I think with Cassia, you're giving up a lot of what you could have done here. So if you get the flip and you get a lockdown with Uther, then Cassia is going to be fantastic to get a kill in. But I feel you are putting all of your eggs into one basket, whereas if you pick a strong melee auto attacker, you all of a sudden start branching out and you have different ways how you can approach the fights on the map.
Yeah, you're a lot more focused on the kills instead of being able to siege with her. So it does show something into the mentality of Red Canids.
I also think she's really vulnerable to Haymaker, which we've been seeing a lot here from Honkono. If she gets out of position at all or way too far away from a team, you cannot protect her, and that's when the focus comes in. Actually focuses her down. So, bit of an odd pickup there at the end for the 5th pickup, but Red Canids have talked about it in the interview before. They love their double support and their double melees. They had that here with the Garrosh and the Sonya. This is their bread and butter. Will it be enough, Dredge?
I want to say the answer to that is yes, but I just doesn't feel like that is the case. Because we've been complimenting the drafting of Red Canids, I feel like it's important to highlight that I feel like this draft is exactly what we typically expect from them, to have too linear of a win condition to be able to win the game, and that a better team will just go, well, as long as we avoid the Garrosh flip into the Cassia combo and the one-shot blow-up, we will be effective in this game. Even when you see that high Abathur that does have a weakness, if you don't exploit those type of things, ultimately it just, you can dance around it all day, and I feel like Tempest will do that here.
Coming back to your point, Garrosh also in this tournament so far, I've been really surprised by a lot of the bans that we've seen early on against him, and I think as a high priority pick, he also doesn't really excel. This time he was picked a little bit farther down, but he's, in my opinion, with a good team can exploit his weaknesses too much that he always gets the value. So that willingness to always go into Garrosh here, I find that strange against a team that is supposed to be just like a level higher than you are currently. So I think Tempest is not going to fall into the trap to get completely obliterated by Garrosh comms, and they are going to use his weaknesses against the Red Canids.
Well, it's time here to start the second game. Will we have the Red Canids go home, and will we have Tempest go forward to face against Roll20, or will we have a game number 3? Let's head over to Claris and Skimmy.
Thanks very much, guys. Big fight feel here for Red Canids, who need to be able to put themselves on the map. Otherwise, they are done. Whereas on the other side, Tempest, especially with something like Lucio, they might just see Red Canids as a speed bump.
Absolutely, man. 2 mana regions out so far. Are Red Canids going to be the third casualty amongst us right now as they come into their favorite map, a map which has shown difficulty for Tempest, but as the analyst desk does remind us, this composition looks a little bit too linear.
Now let's get into it. Game number 2 about to begin here. Red Canids need to seize control and need to never let it go. As we get on to Dragonshire, Tempest here looking poised to try and take this and then push themselves to fight against Roll20. Skimmy, over to you, my friend.
That's the one. Game number 2, this time on Dragonshire, with Tempest leading that best-of-3 series 1-0. And this is the team that you have to watch right now. Where are they going to go with this one? Jay Schritt, the childhood sweetheart, the favorite from Latin America. He is this time flexing it on Rhaegar, Fury Zero on Sonya, Mirez playing Acacia, Vieira supporting on Uther, and Chulin on Garrosh.
Could be Jay Schritte's last game with this roster. Let's see if they can make it work. To the right-hand side, we have Tempest. Hyde will be on Lucio. H82 this time is on Leoric. Next up, Lockdown on Abathur. Up next, we have Sign on Muradin. And finally, to round things out, Honkono on the Grey main. So a little bit of a kind of change up in a spot for him here.
Already the mind games come out there. Red Canids doing what typically is the norm by going through the mid lane. And as a result of seeing Tempest go for the split push and taking out those towers, they're going to respond in the mid lane. But right now, it's looking as if Tempest have got the get-go.
Good power exploiting the fact that normally there is that clash in the mid. Abathur moved back, knowing that there is always that threat of Garrosh grasping him from across, and Leven just looking to put pressure onto Sign there, but he dwarf tosses away.
Flip in, dwarf toss out. The mobility going to be a big, big factor here, especially with the Lucio. I mean, you're going to see a lot of aggression coming out here in terms of jumping onto those targets, and once they find you, they are not going to run away. Jay Schritt is going to be the target here, but he gets tossed away. And the Carnage in mid lane will have to wait another day.
Not too bad. If he'd have gone into those bushes, he could have taken a bit more damage from those two. Now he does it. Like a dog with a bone in the end. Gotta find him somewhere.
The Kalaris curse knows no limits. You talk about a gust, it happens. You talk about a mine, it happens. And now a fight breaks out in the Bermuda Triangle.
Don't you dare. Of all things, the Kalaris curse. If that occurs whilst I'm casting one series a day, we know that it's in full effect, my friend.
Well, I mean, you're a voice actor at the moment, but you might be able to transition into movie acting with a Kalarisception.
Oh, okay. All right, then. Let's get it going. As what do we have going on there? Actually, throw it to Honkono, but the thing is that you actually just saw how Honkono reacted to that. There aren't many great targets to throw. If you throw Muradin, there's the potential for the Dwarf Toss unless you actually get the stun follow-up. If you throw Leoric, Wraith walk away. even Greymane is someone who can launch himself the opposite way after he's been thrown, so...
I mean, yeah, you're looking at that Lucio, the big component to try and assist in all three of those members' escape. Lucio gonna be that go-to target, but if he's alongside terrain, as you can see on your screen right now, he is gaining a rapid speed to also boost out of a scary situation.
Yeah, I mean, we always compare Garrosh comps to, or at least I do, Garrosh comps to Stitches comps. So there's going to be that element where you want Uther to be with the Garrosh throw so that you can kind of stun afterwards, right? That would be a good follow-up, I think.
Absolutely. And I mean, you can see right there, the skirmish tries to break out in the bottom lane, but we discussed it last series on Tales of Doom, the Abathur-Lucio interaction. You pop the hat on him, and suddenly Lucio becomes a bit of a threat to actually deal with.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very, very strong, powerful duo that we've seen even prevalent in the past couple of days elsewhere. But Viera and Tulin spotting Sign. Sign doing the good old fake out to see if he can invade a camp.
Interesting to note also, Mures has gone for the adaptation at level 4, not going to go for the blinding light, so if he gets stunned on out, nobody near him is going to be blinded, and you'd imagine that to be the go-to of Muradin. And Greymane jumping onto his face, looking for that execution star, but he has gone for the lifesteal, which caters into the idea that he wants to stick around and play for a while.
A slow Dragon Knight phase, a slow Shrine phase here at the moment, although it has been wrestled away. Not easy to get that from Garrosh in the middle, but H82 at the moment, especially, as you mentioned, with that Abathur assistance, really doing a good amount of work in that top lane.
I mean, top lane's a bit of an interesting matchup. Typically speaking, it's all won by if that Drain Hook connects or not, and if you've got the Abathur hat on top of that, that can patch some of this weakness that's happened since his rework, meaning that his early game has been significantly nerfed to a degree, but his mid to late game is now far, far stronger, so definitely keep your eyes on what is typically been speaking as a Sonya winning style.
This Wraith walk forwards, very aggressive onto Fury Zera, can't quite get the kill. And you've got to bear in mind, with that hat, that was a 4-man attack, but they already got the 4 up here as well. That shows how much they've been dominating that top lane. And I feel like for RED Canids, the comp just isn't working out fully. There was a lot of time there in mid lane where Garrosh is solo, alone, not doing much, not opening up opportunities for RED Canids.
Speaking of opportunities, Klaus, absolutely. I mean, they go for that top lane commit from Tempest, and RED Canids with the Giant surely had to try and respond by doing the exact same and evening out that balance by doing the same to the bottom lane. Only 2 towers is what they're going to find as their prize.
So RED Canids continue to try and hold on to this at the bottom. It will be that train. He has been pushed as H82, but he'll happily just walk away. Or Viera and Honkona going for a fight. Viera quite deep there at the moment, being healed himself, trying to get him out of there. But Tulin, likewise, under a little bit of threat. Pops the unstoppable, and he will get away.
All those members so low by RED Canids, but Tempest just cannot find the first one to take on down. But they will continue to control this bottom lane for the most part. The Shrine is definitely in their control. And something to talk about, it's Honkona this time on the Greymane. We briefly discussed it, I suppose, with the introductions at the start, but Sign, we don't know his thoughts as to whether Haymaker is that go-to or not.
I'm going to say no. So maybe that happens. Put pressure on Fury Zera once again. Oh, and a few more little shots coming over across the wall. Nicely done. RED Canids trying to reinforce, but this could be fraught with danger here at the moment, as he's made himself unstoppable once again as Tulin to try and get out of here. It's a lot of good AoE damage that they put on towards Tempest.
I mean, that just shows you the power of Garrosh, right? Doesn't even have to pop his unstoppable clips to try and survive through all of that. Now, so many members of Tempest are low. 2 more that could have potentially fallen on down. H82 has to use that Wraith Walk to not be that second casualty as they look for another. They do find it, and that's fantastic because RED Canids right now have control of both shrines. If they can do this well, they can get the cap.
And that all came for me off the back of Cassio charge strikes. If you've got 3 grouped up, you better get that kill, because if not, when the turnaround comes, when Cassio is throwing out those spears as they bounce, that is massive damage, and they really exploited that. Great stuff by RED Canids.
Scary times for Tempest, however, and this is when that sort of curse, I suppose, of the Dragonshire becomes a bit of a problem. This is the map for the RED Canids, minor region or not. They are bringing the pain. They get the dragon. They hit level 10 first, and they can look to continue the siege.
It's a little bit of a bizarre build from Honkona, and I mean, what isn't bizarre about Honkona overall? But with Cocktail into Wizened Duelist, it's not quite the most common of things, but we'll see if he can kind of get value out of it.
I mean, to a degree, it almost feels like Tempest are disrespecting RED Canids and saying, you're an easy region, we're just going to get kills all day long. Both of us play a very aggressive style, so if these skirmishes keep coming about, we're going to get significantly rewarded by an increased auto attack.
So, this, and the big problem is that naturally, Cassio is just a great counter, in theory, counter to what Tempest is bringing, because they're always going to clump up as the fight ensues.
But it does. The Warlord's challenge coming out nice and early. Ball lightning to follow, but the Black King March does so much to try and stabilize them. Soundbearer coming across at the second moment as well. There's the Divine Storm. Can they find some kills right now? Ancestral does not connect, and Cass is the first one to fall.
Yeah, they brought down a very big threat, and that's very good for them. They threw Hyde, who was most healthy. They really wanted to throw Sign there, as he's almost going to get out, and he does get away. Trying to throw Fury Zera forwards here to go for a little bit of an attack on towards them, but a little bit unfortunate there for Red Canids. They probably could have got a Meridian kill off that if it had gone perfect.
Oh, the phone though, Honkono is flirting with Death's Sign, and both of them are really doing it, but Chulin does get stabilized with that Ancestral. Yeah, we're looking for more, but H82 does get out with that Wraithwalk. This is that skirmish, the scrappiness that we were discussing just a moment earlier.
And all the while, that cute little boombox bopping away in the middle as that got dropped. Tempest manages to get away relatively unscathed. They got themselves the Cassia kill. And if that doesn't happen early on in some of these fights, it's fraught with danger.
I mean, you got to respect this Cassia, man. It got banned out in their series earlier, and I say, yeah, the Charge Strike's doing a lot of work in terms of when these guys are clashing as a 5v5 unit. He pops that, and suddenly he is the single carry, making it all work. Yes, the Ancestral didn't connect, but imagine if it did.
Yes, it's all melee. It's aside from a Lucio doing what he needs to do, it's all melee. So now, Tempest here. You have to be a little bit careful down towards the bottom as Chulin's lurking. And they're even going to take that hard camp to the bottom. So, but it's being scouted out. Can it be rivaled?
Tempest are in a position to rival us. They've just picked up the Giants, and just like that, that's a complete bait. This is Red Canids almost saying, look, we aren't confident. H82's actually laughing right now at the fact this is almost donated to him.
Oh, that was well played, H82. No fear, no risk, and that, as we've said, even from the times of Noblesse, who is now coaching MVP Black, the perfect play for a tank. You threaten, they don't know where you are. Red Canids is playing scared.
This is a bit of a glimpse into the psychological factors that Red Canids have. They must be under so much emotional stress. I mean, they saw that the Giants were picked up. They should have known that Tempest were in the vicinity, but they, to a degree, I suppose, overestimated the time it takes to travel from there.
Difficult
now they get punished.
Yep, as Wraith walking away here as H82. Tulin can't really do too much about that. Here comes Fury Zera in for an attempt onto H82. Technically, this is a great opportunity to kill him off. March of the Black King goes through. They have to retreat out. It's too much damage and too much sustain.
That it is. It does allow Sign to rock up to the party and prevent any further fight.
It's free.
It is. The rotations, J Shrip being picked up in the top lane, allows that rotation to come across, allows the control, and now Honkono gets the Dragon and stabilizes what just happened with that siege before in the mid lane.
Alright, so what can Honkono do? He's crazy everywhere else. He's going to be crazy in a Dragon Knight, no doubt, as he just walks through the mid four towards the bottom one that's already being sieged by his team. Just wants to rendezvous with them. He took a lot of damage by doing this, but he wanted to get down here nice and fast.
I mean, the Dragon, let's be quite real here, doesn't actually achieve too much. It's more of a bit of a confidence player saying, I can just run on through. But I mean, as you say, the objective that looks so perfectly coordinated to achieve doesn't achieve much.
Debatable moves, but oh well, as that has gone now. The thing is that that top lane is still always being pushed in by Abatha because he is up there doing what he needs to. Mines everywhere on the rotation paths. Hyde and Sign and Honkono. Where are we going?
Hide and Sign now going to be playing a bit of hide and seek.
I like that one. That was good. See what they can do down here. Not too much. Just cleaning things up and going to be removing. Like, the last maybe 30 seconds or so has been Tempest playing with vision. They have not shown too much. Now they've accidentally found a Leoric on this path down for mid. But overall, there was the potential that Tempest could have lashed out very aggressively if Red Canids had not respected the vision game that just happened.
It was almost a bit like Tempest trying to force a mechanical mistake out of Red Canids by saying, well, we're not going to show ourselves. Are we on a camp? Are we pushing a lane? Are we hiding for that gank potential? Trying to respond to this Abatha, you saw the initial run up there to go towards it. But as you say, the 30 seconds were those mind games and the positioning really the biggest factor.
Cleaning that up, back to the Giants, and Red Canids look to rival this. It's a good opportunity. Tempest isn't 16 yet.
This is the best chance, and this is what happened last time on Tales of Doom. They went for that fight as well, and now going to be looking to collapse onto it. Sign is there, Vieira is also there. The Warbreaker starts things off. Lockdown with that clone is getting aggressive. Mures is dropping low. He's the big component of this comp to try and make it work. He falls on down. Rhaegar the double kill to make sure that Tempest go for that 16. It's not going to be enough. One by one they fall. The Bermuda Triangle, lots of things happen there, and I tell you what, 4 people are going to fall. They are disappearing.
Disappearing ships, and March of the Black King got massive value in this choke point. That's exactly what Tempest was looking for. It's a full team wipe, Skimmy. Red Canids is in disarray.
It's not going to be the ace set and match based off that, but 5 people fall to the floor. 16 is there for Tempest. This time they've got Abathur taking the top. They've got HGC in the mid. The Dragon will be collapsed, and it will be taken to that bot lane to look for that keep.
Yeah, they can do whatever they like at this point here. Red Canids is going to have to scramble for some semblance of defense, as they will head down towards that bottom, but unfortunately for them, a talent behind and a whole level away from it is very, very difficult for them. You can see Rhaegar at the top trying to clean up a little bit of the wave to start things off, but gotta soak and somehow hold on.
Yeah, sponge or not, you're not going to be able to soak enough in this situation to hit 16 by the time Tempest come banging on your keep door. The tower is going to fall on down. Furyzera gets amongst it to try and do as much damage to this as possible with those giants in the back line. They are quite low, but still, they're going to add a lot of sieging potential. Chillin, the one to be jumped upon.
Oh, trying to go on to Sign there, but it's not going to be enough. They don't have the damage follow-up against the Muradin, especially with an Abathur on at the moment. The siege continues here for Tempest. They are absolutely running Red Canids ragged right now at this doorstep as Sonya tries to go in for the spin to win, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
One stun, another stun. AoE circles across the board from both teams as they try and find some potential kill. Red Canids are hungry. They're still not 16 though.
There's Ominous Wrath as well as Royal Focus here for H82. So if they keep chasing forwards, he can continue to be an absolute nuisance in this fight. They're going to try and turn it around.
And that they do. The march comes across. They do find Greyman. However, this is fantastic for the Red Canids right now. If they can find more, they can get themselves back into this game. The respawn time is longer, at least 50 seconds at this stage. So if they can try and find another, Furyzera is spinning to win. He's looking for that kill on towards Sign, but he's Avatar. He's not got that... He's not got the Haymaker. He is going to survive, and he is tanking on the world.
The stun kept coming out from Sign there onto Furyzera, but he did really well to actually survive against that. The change in targets, though, constant pressure on Cassia and Furyzera, constantly alternating there, was Tempest to eventually win out this fight and push Red Canids back once again.
I mean, that really has to be the power of Leoric, nullifying so much damage potential from the whole roster of Red Canids. You then got the healing static from the Muradin, plus Lucio just keeping everybody alive. Well, okay.
Sorry,
I was trying to give him a bit of praise, but then he just runs it down.
Well, I mean, 4 for 2. It's all right. It's good here for Tempest. Red Canids there. They tried very, very well to get that fight. The best time that they possibly could have, or tried to, but unfortunately there was just really, really good split focus going on there. It's rare that you say the words split focus to actually say something that is good, but when you're dealing with something like a Sonya and a Cassia at the same time, you want to pressure them both in those fights.
Absolutely, and you want to really try and juggle where those cooldowns from the healers in a double support composition especially are utilized. And we talk about how do you try and take down a double support composition. You're trying to bait out those resources with those basic abilities. Once they're down, especially with the likes of a Lucio, you run away, you say, this ain't our fight. Then you come in with that re-engage, you've got the taunt, you've got 20, and you're looking for more.
They realized he was there to Tulin, and that is him getting a lot of damage taken. That's the Ancestral Heal comes out. Honkona trying to get out in the back. They pick up the first kill.
I don't believe it. They are actually going to do this one right now. 20 or not, they don't even care. They want more. Lucio wasn't even there the entire fight. They take 2.
This is the opportunity Red Canids have been looking for. They were pressured on every single lane, and now, where do they go? Uther's bot, he might be under a little bit of pressure here from the Sign and Hide, and if especially the Abathur hat joins, that could be annoying, but they're not going to allow it. They're scared that the rotation will come and bite them.
They're messy here from Tempest, to be quite honest, but I don't believe Red Canids can punish them too much. Now the team actually do respond. Vieira's going to get some boys to back him up. The Divine Storm is going to come across as he looks to fall to the floor. Lucio's going to drop that sound barrier. Getting amongst their chaos as the cannons are there. The lanes are being pushed top and bot. Keepers falling in the top lane. Giant torn towards that core, taking that shield on down. Rhaegar.
Can he get it? It's so very close to getting it. He does get the Dragon Knight. He's probably going to have to use this to defend. He's going across the map, but H82 and Sign, these guys, are they just going to go forwards? This is a crazy little situation here, Skimmy.
This is like a base race gone wrong. This is looking like a Hero League game right now. He is still pushing at the Dragon, showing no signs of conceding. He's not even going to jump out of that Dragon. That core is going to fall down to 65%. They are running away, but they're playing with our hearts right now.
I felt like the Dragon Knight should have come back home to try and defend against this, but I mean, all in all, the core had already taken damage anyway, and it looks like Tempest should be able to round this out with Cassia falling as well. Dragon Knight walks onto the core, but it does not matter. Power plays come out from Tempest, and it is 2-0 to Team South Korea.
2-0 to the Korean third seed, as you can see. A smile come out there from Hong Kong. Job successfully done. They're going to get another chance to try and secure their ticket for BlizzCon. Going to be going up against Roll20 just after this. But I mean, if you're watching this, arguably you could say that wasn't their strongest performance.
Not entirely, no. It was a little bit back and forth there, what we can see from it. And as much as Tempest now keeps themselves alive, commiserations go out obviously to Red Canids, who I feel we both will share the same sentiment, where if the group had been a little bit weaker, if it hadn't been a true group of death here out of the four, we definitely could have seen them do a lot more.
100%, and this really has been the biggest story, the narrative for the whole year for Red Canids. They put up these fantastic performances, but it tends to be against these behemoths of rosters, and hence why you look at it, and on a stat sheet you could say they've never won a series this year, but they damn well go close.
Pleasure to catch you this gimme as we head back over to the analysis desk now to see what they think of the 2-0.
Tempest will move forward to face off against Roll20 to see who will make it to Anaheim next week. But before we go, some parting thoughts about Red Canids. Caldor, do you have anything to say about the team?
I have to echo again what I said after the first map already. I think this is definitely the strongest Red Canids that we've seen so far. Yes, they lost, but technically they lost in the base race on map number 2. They made it to the core. And honestly, if we had a different group, if this wasn't a group of death, I would be really interested to see how far they can go with this, because their drafting has significantly improved, the execution as well, and it was a lot of brawling, but they performed well.
Dread, Gilly, any quick thoughts?
I mean, I feel like I've shared the same sentiment on terms of like the grouping and whether or not they would have been more successful into a different group, but ultimately, I get torn because as a guy who actually enjoys just competition, I'm a huge fan of just competing against one another. That the heart of it is that there is always a winner and a loser. So there's a level of my heart goes out to them because there is so much passion and drive, especially for players like Jay Shrite, that they've displayed over the long run. But there is a winner and a loser every single time, and ultimately they just weren't able to perform with the format that we have.
One thing we can say is that was the best performance internationally that Latin America has had, and that is something to go out on in that performance, being able to take a game off of Roll20, looking strong even versus Tempest, bringing it to Tempest, getting kills. And so I think although they are probably very disappointed, I think that they will look at that and be happy with that performance in the long run.
Well, it's time to say goodbye to the Red Canids, but we're going to follow Tempest as they go to face off against Roll20, and we currently have Kevin Johnson on the stage with Tempest.
That's right, Tim. I'm standing here with none other than Hong Kono from Team Tempest. Congratulations, Hong Kono, to you and your team for this win over the Red Canids. I got to ask you, I know Tempest is a team that's been around for a while, but this is one of the first tournaments you've been in with Western teams since mid-2016. How has the experience been so far?
먼저 우승자 축하드립니다. 그리고 지금 템페스트 팀 같은 경우는 2016년부터 꾸준히 활동하고 있는 팀이고요. 그리고 최근에 지금 서양 팀과 경기를 많이 2016년 이후로 경기 안 했는데요. 서양 팀들에 대해서 어떻게 생각하시나요?
일단 서양이 되게 좀 많잖아요. 근데 그 중에 이제 유럽 팀 같은 경우는 정말 이제 한국보다도 잘한다고 생각하는 그런 팀들이 돼버렸고, 북미도 아직은 안 해봤지만 엄청 잘한다고 듣고, 그리고 경기도 실제로 봤기 때문에 좀 걱정되고 대단하다고 생각합니다.
He says there's a lot of Western teams, and he believes Europe has now become the strongest region, and NA is also following the EU and becoming a very strong team. So they're very concerned right now how well they'll do in the finals during BlizzCon.
All right. Well, I have to ask you about that signature Haymaker choice that you make on Muradin. We see it all the time. Even when Sign is playing Muradin, he's choosing Avatar. What is it about that heroic that fits your playstyle specifically?
무라딘을 플레이하실 때 대부분 초강타를 많이 선호하시는 편이신 것 같은데요. 혹시 왜 그 아베타 대신에 초강타를 선택하시는지 좀 궁금합니다.
일단 투신 같은 경우는 사실은 그냥 살짝 돌가죽이랑 비슷하게 상대 팀을 막 교란시키고 앞에서 이제 안 죽게 맞아주기만 하는 역할인데, 초강타 같은 경우는 꼭 투신을 찍지 않아도 바로 그냥 배달 같은 거라든가 아니면은 진영을 붕괴시킬 수 있는 쪽에서 안 죽을 수 있으면 정말 좋은 궁이라 생각해서 찍습니다.
Mostly he chooses the haymaker over the avatar because he doesn't have to use the skill. He doesn't have to put extra skill into affecting his more body, so he can take more damage. He can mostly just focus just on hitting people far away, so he'll have more leverage when into team fights.
All right, now you're not finished yet. Haven't claimed that spot at BlizzCon just yet. Roll20 stands in the way. What is the plan of attack to ensure victory for Team Tempest?
다음 상대가 롤20인데요. 어떤 전략을 짜고 오셨는지 궁금합니다.
좀 사실 전략보다는 좀 정신적으로 안 힘들고 원래 해왔던 조합들을 다시 하기로 했고요. 그리고 만약에 지면은 한국을 헤엄쳐서 가겠다는 마인드로 열심히 하겠습니다.
He's saying that he didn't really focus on strategy against them, but more on mentally preparations. And their team's got more focus on basic strategy they've been practicing for a long time. And their mental focus is that if they lose, they're gonna swim all the way back to Korea.
All right, well, Hankono, I hope you don't have to make that long swim. Good luck in your next match. Hope to see you at BlizzCon. We'll see you in the next one. Okay, guys, another team has to pack their bags. The Red Canids calls an end to their season, and right now, one more match remains for us today in Group C. That is going to be up next. Please stick around. We'll be right back with our deciders match shortly.
Is into a bit of a compromising position, walks into a room. He's going to get collapsed on. He's running away. He still survives, though, Kalaris. And now the chase comes around. His Red Canids can look to re-engage.
And it's like we're seeing here, Sign going for the gust here, trying to get the retreat on out, knowing that the other few members were a little bit low. As long as you can deal with Fury Zero down to the bot, he's in no man's land, completely isolated from his team. A great pick by Tempest.
Tempest, if they win this fight, they win the game. One shot remains on his core right there. Twilight Dream to start things off. Arpis, the second casualty. Hankono jumps into backline. Piercing stun, says hello.
Hammer is under a lot of pressure. H82 ripping in shreds. There's the sound barrier. H82 almost goes down there. A bit of a boom. Oh, with the Stomple and the Haymaker for good measure.
This is the best chance, and this is what happened last time on Tales of Doom. They went for that fight as well, and now they're going to be looking to collapse onto it. Sign is there, Vieira is also there. The Warbreaker starts things off. Lockdown with that clone is getting aggressive. Mures is dropping low. He's the big component of this comp to try and make it work. He falls on down. Rhaegar the double kill to make sure that Tempest go for that 16. It's not going to be enough. One by one they fall. The Bermuda Triangle, lots of things happen there, and I tell you what, 4 people are going to fall. They are disappearing.
Disappearing ships, and March of the Black King got massive value in this choke point. That's exactly what Tempest was looking for. It's a full team wipe, Skimmy.
Out there from Hankono, job successfully done. They're going to get another chance to try and secure their ticket for BlizzCon. Going to be going up against Roll20 just after this, but I mean...
17 Heroes Global Championship Finals are brought to you in part by Republic of Gamers, Intel, T-Mobile, and NVIDIA.
To prepare for this championship, we didn't have so much practice because our region is a little bit weak, so we pretty much don't have another team to practice. So we pretty much play some hero leagues and watch some VODs, and that was our practice.
I think all teams in your group it's really strong. The other people call your group it's the group of death, because we have 3 teams really strong and 1 minor region, it's us.
In my group, all of the teams is pretty strong, so Roll20 is the winnable team for us, I think, in my opinion.
HGC Canids! Yeah.
Leading up to the HGC finalists, our preparation intensified significantly. right before this event, we went to Las Vegas for a week and did a pretty rigorous boot camp in which we trained really hard and looked to perfect the strategies we have going into BlizzCon.
Team Dignitas, we believe, is going to be the strongest opponent coming into Group C. They've definitely improved a lot. They definitely look stronger, and they're here to win BlizzCon. It's not like they're weak. Like, and through a bunch of like power rankings, they're really highly rated. So they're definitely going to be the hardest thing we have to face.
Something interesting that my team does before a match, a pregame ritual specifically with me and Justin, is we'll do the fast part of Rap God to warm up our communication, and it also just kind of sets the mood to be a little bit more goofy and makes everyone relaxed on stage. So that's something we do.
Let's drop the beat!
Okay. Samalama Dumlama, you assuming I'm a human, what I gotta do to get it through you, I'm superhuman, innovative, and a mid-rebel, so anything you say is ricocheting off of me and it'll glue you. I'm devastating, never one demonstrating how to give a motherfucking audience a feeling like levitating, never fading, and another hit is off forever, waiting for the day that they can say I fell off, they'll be celebrating, but I know the way to get them motivated, I make elevating music, you make elevator music. Oh, it's too mainstream. Well, that's what they do, and they get jealous, they confuse it. It's not hip-hop, it's pop. Because I found out hell way to fuse it, and I'm done. I can't do anymore.
저희 팀이 이제 가지고 있는 건 포지션의 자유로움 정도가 있겠네요. 우승하기 위해서.
네, 저희 팀은 HGC 파이널을 준비하기 위해서 저희가 원래 영웅을 못 다루는 경우가 좀 있었어요. 근데 그걸 서로 보완을 해가면서 영웅폭을 좀 전체적으로 늘려서 왔어요. 우선 조 자체를 처음 봤을 때 저희 조는 되게 힘들겠다는 생각을 했어요. 그래서 그냥 세 팀 다 되게 까다로울 것 같고 솔직히 본선에 올라갈 수 있을지도 잘 모르겠어요. 지금 유럽 팀들이 쓴 나나가 좀 더 까다롭더라고요. 그래서 아마 상대팀이 아나를 많이 쓸 것 같고 저희는 그거에 대한 대처를 준비해서 갈 것 같아요. 보통 저희 팀은 무대에 오르기 전에 긴장한 선수를 좀 더 많이 챙겨줘요. 근데 보통 저희는 해파리 선수가 긴장을 더 많이 하는데 그래서 그 선수한테 좀 더 장난을 많이 치는 것 같아요.
무대에 올라가기 전에 피제 스피너로 좀 마음의 안정을 찾아서 불안감을 없애는 편입니다.
To prepare for the HGC finals, we actually went to boot camp in Korea. So that was a really cool experience. We got to hang out in Korea, which is always a great thing, but the most important thing is we got to scrim the Korean teams. And the Korean teams are really strong. The most important thing was scrimming MVP Black and scrimming Ballistics. Both of those teams were really helpful. They showed us a lot about how they played the game and how they rotated, and we learned a lot from them.
It's tough for me to grasp which the strongest team in our group is. It's definitely a coin flip between Roll20 and Tempest. I think it will just come down to who's more prepared to play us. I think we're definitely excited to play Roll20. We have a lot of camaraderie between the two rosters. I'm really good friends with Glaurung, for example, so it's always fun to kind of play your friends on stage and have this, rivalry show up in the game. So I'm definitely excited to play against them again.
I think we definitely have the hardest group. And it's the hardest group even once you get out as well, because we haven't got the best teams, but we've got the dark horses, the scary teams. Roll20 are definitely the best team from North America. They've looked really strong this whole part, and the style that they play is really different from any other team. So we really have to keep an eye on them and make sure they don't surprise us. Tempest is very much the same. They're definitely different from the other Korean teams, but the rule mechanics that they have always makes them a scary team to play against, no matter what the meta.